All right, let's work on a few more fun things you can do with exponents. This is lesson B. Consider 2 to the 5th, the whole thing, raised to the 2nd power. Well, if we figure that out long way around, that would be 2 times itself 5 times squared, which is the same thing as 2 times itself 10 times. Yes? Well, 2 to the 10th is the same thing as 2 to the 5 times 2. This is where sometimes it starts to get confusing, because if you are raising an exponent to a power, then you multiply the two exponents. Okay, this is different than what you were doing in the last lesson. When you are raising an exponent to a power, then you multiply. Let's practice on a few of these. So we have p to the 5th being raised to the 4th power. We're going to multiply 5 times 4 and end up with p to the 20th. Let's try it again. N to the 8th, quantity raised to the 4th. N to the 32nd. N to the 4th, quantity raised to the 8th, is also n to the 32nd. Do you notice anything about these two problems? And last, c squared, quantity raised to the 5th, c to the 10th. Okay, a slightly different topic. If you are given a problem that looks like this, 2 times 5, quantity cubed, you could get these papers out of your way before you start. Okay, you could do this. 2 times 5 quantity cubed is the same thing as that, which is the same thing as 2 to the 3rd times 2 to the 5th. I can pluck those numbers out and write them using exponents because everything in here is being multiplied. And remember the commutative property of multiplication? Doesn't matter if you multiply 2 times 5 times 2 times 5 times 2 times 5, or 2 times 2 times 2 times 5 times 5 times 5, or some other order that you might want. So this is equal to 2 cubed times 5 cubed. And if you figure that out, that's going to be 8 times 125, which is the same thing as 1,000. Or I could have done this another way entirely. I could have said, well, 2 times 5 is equal to 10, and 10 cubed is equal to 1,000. It's important with these problems that we're working on that you be able to manipulate them a little bit and solve them this way. Recognize that this is the same thing as this, which is the same thing as this. The main point from this problem is I want you to realize that the exponents can be distributed. 2 times 5 quantity cubed is the same thing as 2 cubed times 5 cubed. If I write it out like algebra, it looks like this. AB quantity to the 5th is the same as a to the 5th, b to the 5th. All right, a little bit of practice at this. This whole quantity, 7m to the 9th, is being cubed. What can we do with that? Well, remember 7 is 7 to the 1st power. So we can distribute this cubed, 7 cubed, because 3 times 1 gives you 3, times m to the what? Well, we have something that's already raised to an exponent being raised again, so we're going to multiply 9 times 3. So 7 cubed m to the 27th. Take a look at the next one. 2z to the 4th. Just distribute that exponent. 2 to the 1 times 4, which is 4. Z to the 1 times 4, which is 4. And again, I would just leave this as 2 to the 4th. I wouldn't work it out. Why complicate your life? All right, 5y, quantity to the 4th, gives you 5 to the 4th, y to the 4th. And one more, just for fun, 2x, quantity cubed, times x squared. We're going to do this one in 2 steps. Why? Because we end up with 2 cubed x cubed x squared. And then we've got x's here. We can simplify that some more. But we're not raising to a power anymore. We're back to, we've got like base and terms being multiplied. So this means we can simplify to 2 cubed x to the 5th. You add those when you're multiplying those terms. If you got x to the 6th, then you were getting confused with which rule we were using. All right, your last new idea for this lesson. Anything to the 0 power equals 1, except for 0. Hopefully this rule is review for you. Some examples are 1 to the 0 power is 1. A to the 0 power is 1. AB, whole quantity to the 0 power, is 1. What other examples did I write down? 6 to the 0 is 1. 326 to the 0 power is 1. 0 to the 0 power is undefined, and we try to avoid those things. One more example here. A to the 0 power times b squared leaves you with just b squared. Your classwork for your next class, again, is going to be a couple of worksheets that will be in the box at school.